In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the O-Train West extension, which is expanding service further west from Tunney's Pasture to Algonquin on O-Train Line 1 and Moodie on O-Train Line 3. We're going to start at Westboro Station, Dominion, which is now being renamed Kitchissibee, Sherbourne, New Orchard, Lincoln Fields, where it branches off with O-Train Line 1 continuing service to Iris and Algonquin, and O-Train Line 3 service continuing to Queensview, Pinecrest, Bayshore, and Moodie. Let's take a look. So here's Westboro Station. Obviously a lot of progress has been made here since we last visited back in the fall. Station structures really come up from the ground. Before and last time it was sort of level with street level, but it's really come a long way. The structure is finally going up and it looks quite advanced already. And I'm sure by the end of the summer, when we come back and look again, it's going to look pretty complete. Looking down now towards the platforms, if we look in the direction of Tunney's Pasture, you can see that the guideway tracks, at least one of them are already in place. The other one they're still working on, so it's not complete. Platform on this side with the overhead canopy, it's coming along. On the opposite side, it's coming along well as well. Unfortunately, the station's really in the middle of a lot of developed areas, so there's a lot of construction fences around here, so definitely apologies for seeing a bit of fence in most of the shots. From here you can see where the buses are going to stop on the outside, as well as the inside of the structure. Looking really good. Elevators on both sides, stair pits, lots of glass. It's going to look a lot like Tunney's Pasture, roughly, but definitely a lot smaller. Tunney's Pasture has a really big concourse area, the Happy Goat Coffee in there. There's another angle with the station just off of Scott Street. You gotta hand it to them. This is one of the stations that was dismantled the last from its transitway original vocation to be converted to rail. And they've really picked up the pace since the demolition to get to this stage. It's definitely the station that's probably the farthest behind on the schedule compared to others, but they're doing really good progress, and I'm pretty sure this summer here they're really gonna catch up. And it's gonna be looking pretty complete like most of the others. Again, another angle from the west. And another shot looking, again, one's at the station, Westboro Station. If we look right here, this old concrete part is, I believe, still the old elevator from the station. And they seem to be doing something where they're gonna be retaining that structure for whatever reason. I don't know if it's going to be an additional emergency exit or if they're just going to use it as a stair shaft or, you know, some sort of utility facility, but interesting that that's part of that structure is being retained. Now if we take a look down, heading farther west in the direction of Kitchissibee Station, you can see that the guideway works are really progressing. You know, obviously there's still some snow in the trench here, but work is really progressing. You can see that they're making the very accurate and essential measurements to make sure that the distance between both rails is to the proper specification. This section around here is also direct fixation compared to using the concrete ties farther down, which are more predominant all over the line, but in some of these areas here, they're using direct fixation over a concrete pad. It's pretty interesting. You can see how they're building the concrete formwork to be able to make these track fixation points. Here we are now at Kitchissibee Station, formerly Dominion when it was a bus station. As you can see, the station is looking fairly advanced. Train platforms at the bottom underneath, as you can see just down here below grade, and the concourse level is above, which is pretty much at street level and with the homes and roads all around here. Just to the side over here is one of the traction power substations, which provides the necessary 1500 volts required by the Alstom LRVs for their propulsion electronic systems. A little farther away from the station right now, we're taking a look at the trench and the drop down that goes into the Parkway Tunnel. And you can see some heavy machinery here working on the rails. Not exactly sure what each one does, but I would assume that some of them are for compacting and tamping the ballast underneath and making sure that the sleepers and rail ties are in proper position and secured adequately in the ballast. And if we keep looking this way, you can see the eastern portal of the Parkway Tunnel that takes it underground all the way to Lincoln Fields. Here we are at Sherbourne. In that direction we came from Kitchissippi. Here's the station, and in the distance would be New Orchard. And this station, just like its neighbor New Orchard, is located in a trenched area with access from both sides by tunnel, so completely closed to the above. But the station itself, as well as the platforms, are going to be open to the sky, so you'll be able to see natural light, natural air coming in from above. You can see the marquee entrance sign, fare gates, vending machines on the other side, double elevators, and you can see some ventilation shafts up atop there that help pump in air into the tunnel. There's also a ventilation post back over there. You can see the vents and the fans over there helping pump fresh air into the tunnel. Should also add that this station in New Orchard have center platform, meaning the elevators and the stairs go down into the middle, and there'll be train service on both sides of the single platform. So this is pretty much the same idea as currently Blair, Searville, and Pimissy stations. So judging by the metal fencing here, I'm assuming that the open to the above section will go from the ventilation facility over there all the way back to the station over here. So it should be quite expansive. It looks like it'll probably be actually longer than the platforms themselves. So as you can see, this area is quite busy. It's obviously had a bit of an effect on the nearby businesses on the road, because it's a little difficult to get around here, especially if you're driving and walking, because the whole middle section here is pretty much all ripped up. It also had a big impact on the Byron Linear Park, which is gone. But the plan is to re-landscape this with grass, trees. It's definitely going to take some time to mature again the way it used to be. But it's going to have new cycling paths, and obviously it's going to have way better transit connectivity, because this was definitely a dead zone for rapid transit. New Orchard, once again, just like Sherbourne, is down inside a tunnel, but where the train platforms are and the station is, it's open to the above, open to the sky, but otherwise it's in a tunnel. You can see the entrance over here, the marquee sign, fare vending machines, tickets, the gates, and then back over here it's open to the above. Once again, in that direction is Sherbourne. Over here is one of the ventilation shafts for providing fresh air into the tunnel, and then the tunnel opens again, coming like this from the station building back over there. So side view of the station, you can see that, you know, some of the exterior glazing and panel work, as well as the ceiling, still need to be done. But I mean, at this advanced stage here, this is all going to be finished up probably by the end of the summer, because that kind of stuff goes up pretty quick. You can tell they're still working on the elevators. It's going to be an interesting station because it's right close to homes, some businesses on Richmond Road. You know, it's a really urban station, if I could say it like that. People will be able to just walk straight over, and it's right here. Makes you feel like a lot of the Montreal metro stations, where it's just like right in the middle of the community. Here we are at Lincoln Field Station. You can see the new station that's constructed back over here. But the old legacy station still stands to this day, even though the pedestrian crossing that came directly to Carling Avenue is long gone. The transitway platforms are still in operation, and a new temporary bus loop is operating just behind here. Of course, those familiar with the station know that going in this direction was how the local bus service was oriented before. It's been ripped out quite a while ago to make room for the new LRT station. So now we're taking a look at the train station itself. First two rail lines. First one is going to Moodie, the middle one is going to Algonquin, and the one all the way on the right is heading back east downtown. Access is from on top. Bus loop is going to be to the right. It's going to be quite an interesting station. Very important, very critical, as it is the transfer point between line 1 and line 3, Algonquin and Moodie. Now we're looking south from Lincoln Fields. Tracks coming out from underneath of Carling Avenue, and then they head up to the point where the tracks switch. And this is where everything branches off from going to Moodie, Algonquin, and coming back from downtown. It's a bit of a spaghetti of tracks, but it permits all these possible connections and routings to take place to destinations further west from Lincoln Fields. We're here now at Iris Station. This one's actually quite unique because it doesn't have any elevators actually. It does have some stairs, but there's also going to be ramps because it's just one level down. The layout is actually extremely simple, which is actually quite nice because it's in a nice little area here. There's the creek that comes through, stream, and what you'll notice is that going to be lots of nature that'll be restored back around here. It's going to be a lot of green, a lot of big trees with leaves. It's going to be a very nice, peaceful station, like in the middle of the city right here. So there's two entrances, both on the south side of the Iris overpass. And the configuration is the same. Nice protected shaft with stairs that go down. And there's also going to be a ramp that'll loop around to reach the platforms on both sides. Once you do get down to the platforms, there's going to be ticket vending machines, as you can see behind there. The entrance, the fare gates, and then the platforms. Lots of glass, like a curtain wall behind, as well as glass canopies on top. So it's going to be very bright, lots of natural light. And once the area around here is restored with lots of green grass and bush and trees, it's going to look quite nice. It's going to be really a bit of a transit oasis in the middle of nature. Just jumping across to the other side of the overpass, I guess the north side, you can see the tracks that are coming from Lincoln Fields. And the old decommissioned Queensway bus station, which is no more. Or soon will be no more. I can see a bus stopping there, but it's pretty much going to be completely decommissioned in the future. And what's interesting here is usually you see like those red or those black plastic matting covers on the sides of the track all over the place. We actually see them opened up right now. They're cable troughs to be able to run, you know, the signaling, communications, all the different lines that need to run from one end of the track to the other on the guideway. And that's pretty much what it looks like inside. once the cabling's all put inside, they drop some black covers on top, and nicely protected, but still easily accessible when needed. And once again, one more angle of the station, this time from the I guess westbound side heading towards Algonquin, that we can see in the far distance. And here we are on the south end of the station, just before it comes into Algonquin station. Farther back over there would have been Iris. You can see a traction power substation, 2 tracks, east and west. Although I suppose at this point it's more like north and south coming into the station. And then the tracks actually switch off here because this station's unique. It actually has more than 2 tracks once you get inside. And those tracks are actually quite long. And this permits them to be able to store or garage additional vehicles in this area of the system. So it makes it better if they have a need to stage additional vehicles for a special event or for a busier time of day. They can have some parked out here, sheltered and all that underneath. You can see like the duck banks on the side. Again with the black covers. Some of them over there don't have black covers yet. Over here it hasn't even been run yet. It's very exciting. And of course, the trains go underneath the road here and just alongside, underneath, next to the campus college building. Here we are at Algonquin Station, which is directly connected by a pedestrian walkway across to the Algonquin ACCE building. And that crossing connects into the second floor of the building, which provides a connection across Woodruff Avenue to the rest of the campus. The future bus loop is going to be in this general area, just around this part of the building. And of course, the train station is all located underground in a tunnel that was built when the college building here was built quite a few years ago. Also located alongside the building and parallel to the existing Transaway baseline bus station, another entrance. This one right here will come directly out. People can walk from outside here into the college. This one won't have a direct connection into the college though, so you do have to exit outside and go back in, as opposed to the one farther down there with the overhead walkway. Here we are at Queensview Station, just next to Leon's. And as you can see, here's the entrance, main entrance on this side. And it's got 3 levels. So the entrance is down below. You can see the elevators and there's some stairs. You go up 1 level and then there's a mid-level. You can see the mid-level roof over there. That's for the actual train station. And from there you can purchase your fare, go down to the train platforms below. Or you can keep going up to the pedestrian crossing, and this is pretty much a pedestrian crossing to go from the opposite side, so near IKEA, Pasture Road, Fun Haven, to be able to cross to this side of the highway, or to allow access to the trains. Here's another angle. That direction, it would be towards Lincoln Fields and the Connaught Tunnel. Here's the side of the station. It's got nice glazing actually. You can see around the elevator shafts, and then the crossing that goes over to the opposite side of the highway. So just a moment ago we were on the opposite side by Leon's, where the actual train station is, and now we're on the Pasture Road side that provides a connection directly across the Highway 417. Really on this side the function is really to just cross the highway. There's no fare gates, there's no ticket vending machines. It really is an extension of the station to permit people to cross over. So you got the 2 elevators on this side, you got the stairs on that side. If you look through, you can see sort of the highway, the station on the opposite side. Then on this side, it's the passage to cross. It's a pretty nice setup. especially if people want to come to the Fun Haven over here, or they want to go over to IKEA, which is just back behind the trees. So it provides a nice connection to this side of the highway and to these destinations and commercial businesses. So here we are at Pinecrest Station. Unfortunately, this time, unlike last time, they got the sidewalk that goes straight over the overpass, which gave a better view, closed off on this side. The station's on this side, so technically, legally, this is really sort of the best we can do this time. But you can see the station's about the same as the previous one. Once again, it's located down in a trench just next to the highway. Access is from on top. There'll be a little bus loop service up here to make the connection. Driving across the overpass and looking down in those fleeting moments, pretty much the same as last time. So looking in this direction, we're looking towards Pinecrest Station, east of Bayshore. You can see the tracks coming out from underneath the overpass. And they reach the Bayshore Station over here. We're here now at Bayshore Station. And as you can see, it's really advancing here. The platform area is really shaping up quite nicely. The overhead glass canopy is all installed. The platform floors and yellow edges probably are still to come. They got it currently covered up by wood to protect the concrete base. And you can see the work that's ongoing to modify the bus portion of the station. So the entrance kiosk building off to the side here, which has seen a big expansion with elevators and a newer pedestrian crossing that's going to be coming back into the mall's parkade. Apparently there's going to be a high-rise or some sort of other development adjacent to this. And then over here you can see the bus stations being improved, revamped. Then in the distance you can see the guideway and tracks that depart Bayshore and head towards Moodie and the LMSF. Definitely lots of action here. It's interesting that a lot of the structure, for example, the towers, the pedestrian crossing, like all these are elements that previously existed as part of the old transitway station, just being modified, added onto. It's pretty interesting. Here we are at Moodie Station, which is the western terminus for O Train Line 3. As you can see, the station is located just alongside the off-ramp, westbound off-ramp for the 417, just at Moodie. And we're here right now on Corktown Road. As you can see on the side here, ticket vending machines, the Fairgate entrance. The platforms are right behind the structure here, stairs, double elevators on both sides. And you can see more of the platforms over there. Here's one of the entrances, it's off the road. You can see the fare machines, the platforms. The two platforms aren't actually lined up with one another. You can see the eastbound platform is actually set a little further east than the westbound platform that's pushed a little more west. It's kind of interesting. It's really not by much, maybe 10, 15 feet or so, but it's kind of an interesting aspect. It's the only station on the O train system that's going to have this kind of configuration, which is quite unique. A little further east of the station here, they're working on the guideway, mostly the overhead catenary system. Lots of work going on here. Once they get this done, they can start rolling out some trains and LRVs from the Moodie or Corktown LMSF to start doing some preliminary testing on the tracks and the guideway. Another look at the structure, the double elevators, the platforms. This would be heading in the westbound direction towards the Corktown LMSF, but generally speaking, this is the westernmost terminus for O Train Line 3. So that about wraps it up in this video. Thanks for watching with us as we took a look at the latest progress on O Train Line 1 and Line 3 on the west extension. Hoping to see some trains start circulating on here later on this year, doing some testing and having the tracks going from at least Tunney's Pasture all the way to Moodie and Algonquin. So stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to Railfans Canada, follow us on social media, and join our Discord group for all the latest on rail projects across Canada and here in Ottawa.